As my teacher, Mr. Logan, used to say, you just never know when you're going to get a good fencing lesson, or who's going to give it to you. This lesson comes courtesy of Henry McCarty, a.k.a. William H. Bonney, a.k.a. Billy the Kid. Henry McCarty, better known as Billy the Kid, belongs to that pantheon of gunfighters and outlaws that live on in the mythology of the Wild West. He's been the subject of hundreds of songs and poems and stories and books, TV shows, even movies, including the 1958 film The Left-Handed Gun. Based on a teleplay by Gore Vidal, it was Arthur Penn's directorial debut and starred Paul Newman as the Kid. The film recounts the high points of popular legend that we all know so well. The Kid killed his first man at the age of 12, and by the time he was gunned down himself in 1881, he had killed a man for each year of his life, 21. We know he was unattractive, illiterate, a drunkard, and had a hair-trigger temper. Indeed, he once shot a man for snoring. We know all about how he went on a violent quest to avenge his employer, John Tunstall, whom he saw as a father figure. He rode for a time with Jesse James, rustled vast numbers of cattle, and his face adorned wanted posters far and wide. In the end, McCarty met his death at the hands of his close friend, Pat Garrett, a former outlaw turned lawman. The tale is brought home by this photo, the only verified photo of our young, star-crossed southpaw. As the great Cherokee humorist Will Rogers once said, "It ain't that people don't know, it's just that they know so much that ain't so." None of what I just told you about Billy the Kid is true. McCarty rarely drank alcohol, and never to excess. According to reporters of the day, he was a fine-looking, handsome lad. Everyone who met him described him as having a calm, pleasant disposition, cheerful, easygoing, with a wonderful sense of humor. While he might not have had much schooling, he was an avid reader and at one point wrote some eloquent letters to the governor. The Kid had no special relationship with Don Tunstall, who was hardly old enough to be a father figure. The Kid never rode with Jesse James, although it does seem that they once met. His cattle rustling career was strictly small time, and his boyish face never graced a wanted poster. As far as those 21 notches on his gun, well, as far as we know, the Kid single-handedly killed only 4 men, and he participated in 5 additional fatal shootings, so at most he was responsible for 9 deaths. Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid were acquainted, but they weren't friends, despite that being a really irresistible plot twist. Garrett ambushed the Kid in the dark, some say tried to shoot him in the back, and after the Kid's death, Garrett wrote a book about him that portrayed the Kid as a murderous, cold-blooded psychopath. As the saying goes, with friends like that. Well, that brings us to the well-known photo of Billy the Kid, attributed to photographer Ben Wittick, taken in late 1879 or early 1880. It was widely published. And this is how we know Billy the Kid has a left-handed gun. His revolver is clearly there on his left hip. Except somebody finally noticed that the ejection port on the Kid's Winchester is on the wrong side. That's absolute proof that this is a reversed image. Look closely and you'll see that the prong on the belt buckle points the wrong way, and the buttons on the Kid's vest are on the left side. They should go down the right side. See, the image is from a ferrotype. The left-handed gun was not left-handed. How many people do you suppose looked at that picture and never noticed? Hell, maybe I wouldn't have noticed either. The right answer is always obvious once you know what it is. But here's an interesting thing. The movie The Left-Handed Gun was released in 1958, but by 1954, several historians had written extensively about Billy the Kid not being left-handed, actually being a pretty good shot with either hand. But the legend was entrenched. And it's a catchy title. And they had Paul Newman, who actually was left-handed, so there you go. Now me, I love a good story for its own sake. Tall tales around the campfire. But I always ask myself, who's telling me this story? Why are they telling it, and why are they telling it to me? What's the message? What is it they want me to believe or not believe? What is it they want me to do or not do? Is it just a story? So what's the lesson here? Well, I think the left-handed gun is a good reminder to continually ask ourselves, how do I know what I think I know? What else do I think I know that isn't true? How much of what everybody knows is dead wrong? If nothing else, it's a good reminder to dial down our willing suspension of disbelief and crank up our rational skepticism. In short, question everything. Much obliged, Billy.